Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Commander Foley.
Oh, and I'm also Commander Cockings. Yes. Or am I? I mean, maybe things change. All I have to do is, oh my god, I'm Lieutenant Cockings. And then, oh my god, in real time, the joke. It's so funny. Oh my god, I'm Ensign Cockings. And no more. Is there a rank for nothing? I don't know. That's just called a double continuity gap where they just forget to put on a rank pip. But that's happened a couple of times. Hi, Stuart. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm okay. Are you back to captain yet? Has that continuity gaff been fixed? Are you still a commander?
What are you talking about? I'm an ensign. I'm Ensign Foley. I'd love to be a captain someday.
Well,
Maybe if I do well enough on this show, I'll get that
I
opportunity.
mean, you are a bit older and you have no drive, and in some realities that can lead to bad things. But you got more hair than other ensigns with no drive. I think it was more. Anyway, Stuart, today, lower decks continuity gaff.
As we've kind of pointed out, and we even talked to Mike McMahon about this and
Yeah.
congratulated him on it,
Yeah.
is the consistency in their storytelling and their visuals. And there's something that sticks out quite noticeably. And I'm wondering if, because that's the case, if it is actually a ongoing running gag, as is kind of maybe making fun of a few instances that happened on the show over the years.
Now, yes. Now, as with all Trek, things happen in production to create issues. Always is the case, and most time they're slip-ups. Now, with animated, though, everything's intentional. And in fact, Mike McMahon said in another interview with someone else that one of the animators said, "Oh, let's put Nomad in the shot." It wasn't intentional. It was right at the end. They said, "Let's just do it. It's a fun reference." So those are all drawn deliberately. And when you've got recurring things, you would hope they'd get them looking about the same. Tricorders, phasers, whatever. But obviously you've got a long shot, a close-up, an extreme close-up, where they don't need to draw the same level of detail. This does change. But this specific continuity gaff is a very simple one and constantly done. So I'm confident in bringing it up. But it's more of an interest sake sort of situation. And I didn't notice it until this last episode where we specifically were talking about rank and how Mariner's promotion is important or not important. The idea of is a two pip lieutenant, is only like 10 of them, therefore her importance is huge. And in the shot where that's talking about, we see the chief tactical officer be a commander, a 3 rank. And in my brain, I'm like, okay, so he's a commander, the other guy's a commander, so we know who the commanders are. And then the scene continues, and he suddenly gets demoted to a lieutenant. And now suddenly the context changes drastically. Well, if he's the same rank as a mariner, oh dear. Now, And Stuart, did you know? So you did notice, I believe, in this episode as well, but I don't think neither of us noticed it earlier on.
No, not at first, but having gone back and rewatched them now,
Yes.
yeah, it's quite an issue.
So yes, basically, in between episodes, between scenes, and between shots in the same scene, our chief tactical officer Cerritos gets demoted and promoted constantly, give or take. And I've done a lovely little collage, Stuart, in order to show off this fun goof. So episode 1 examples. These are in order. So our first introduction to the officer, lieutenant. Second, lieutenant. Fighting the hallways with very small pips. Clearly, lieutenant. And then he becomes an ensign, or lower than an ensign because his thing gets ripped off. We can't tell. It's more of a joke one there. But then at the end of the episode, he's suddenly been promoted to a commander.
That perhaps he got promoted for valiantry or the courage or whatever during the course of the whole zombie outbreak.
Okay, so he got promoted. Well done, you. Second episode, he's only in 2 scenes, and I guess he got demoted between episodes.
Okay, let's chalk this up to the episodes were made and they were going to be in a certain order, and they fudged the order to because one was finished before another one. Maybe
the second episode was finished before the pilot.
Yes. I'm trying to come up with real world excuses for this.
But this episode is totally consistent because he's only in 2 scenes and he is a lieutenant the entire time. Okay, great, perfect. Episode 3 though, not as perfect. So right at the start, he's out of focus in the background, and you can see clearly a 3-bar lieutenant. And when we cut to a 2 shot, he's been demoted. So I guess he was bad at pressing buttons in that scene. He's demoted in the same scene. Oh.
Yeah, they went from because you can see even though he is out of focus, you're right. You can see the 3 pips, and then the commander's right underneath him, with also 3 pips. So it's like, hey, whoop, and then boom, 2.
And then he stays a lieutenant for most of the episode until he's tied on the bridge. And he says a line in his close-up, and then we cut to the captain giving him an order, and he's been promoted again. Excellent! For the long shots of this sequence, for like 2 long shots. But then by the time he gets to the door and fights the intruders and hits a Boimler, he's back to lieutenant, and on the ship is back on the ground, back to lieutenant again. Just he can't, in the same dialogue sequence, he changes in rank. Yes, but isn't that interesting though? Like this is like it's now in the same scene, in the same conversation. Isn't that weird?
Well, as I was going to say, yes, that's weird. But going to the next episode where we're talking, this episode specifically about rank.
Yes. So the first scene where she yawns, he's a lieutenant. But when we come to the promotion scene, it's not as Marin that gets promotion. He's promoted once again to commander for all of the sequences where Marin is standing. As soon as Marin sits down, he's been demoted again. Oh. Literally, the time it takes her to walk around the table, he's been demoted. And he stays a lieutenant the rest of the episode.
And that's what made me think that this is a deliberate gaffe on their part to make fun of the fact that sometimes throughout the course of TNG, some ranks change, well, especially on like Miles O'Brien, the most important man in Starfleet. Sometimes he's got the non-commissioned officers ranking, other times he's a lieutenant, other time it's one of those odd instances, and I think it's done deliberately here. It has to be, because he's the only one that I've noticed it happening to. And until you pointed it out, I thought I'd go back and watch, and it's like, wow, really, guys? And I haven't seen anybody else talk about this, so this is definitely worth pointing out. And we didn't have a chance, unfortunately, to ask this of Mike McMahon when we talked to him, because we were focused on the ship stuff, which you'll be enjoying those interviews. But
and it is a tiny thing, both literally and figuratively, but to be in the same sequence and literally 5 to 10 seconds apart.
Now every episode coming up, we got to pay attention to it. See how many times it happens in episode, and that's going to drive me nuts.
It's 3 out of 4 episodes he does change rank in the episode. 3 out of 4, and the one he doesn't, he's only in 2 scenes. These are all he's in more scenes, and it is, and like my absolute guess is we basically found shots that it's a different animator doing it. They've got a series of animators. These specific shots are given to a certain guy. He's not as big a Trekkie. He doesn't quite, or he thinks he's one rank and he isn't, and he just animates those specific shots. There's so few of them. That's my only guess, because this is it should be consistent,
But is his rank mentioned on screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
Because I found that as well while I was looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's brilliant because this is so back to the episode 3 shot. She mentions his rank in between picture 4 and 5. She calls him lieutenant. Then he gets promoted after she says it, but he's lieutenant while she says it, and then promoted to commander, then back to lieutenant after the scene has ended. So literally right after she says his rank, he gets promoted and demoted again. But yes, so he is a lieutenant, except when he isn't. In our debate about rank, this makes a massive difference. We were thinking about it, and really there is only Riker who's a commander, so it makes more sense to lieutenant. But this is why episode 4 is really interesting, because...
Well, Beverly was a commander, but she's chief medical officer, so...
You're right, thank you. And there should be more commander potential, or lieutenant commanders at least, like we have as Worf and Data and such. So that's kind of the epitome. But in this episode specifically, if he is just a lieutenant, and Marin is just a lieutenant, that means she's been promoted the same rank as the chief tactical officer of the ship, and bridge officer. So that does mean that the context of her promotion, the way she feels annoyed by it, actually greatens the scope of that. You understand more. Oh yeah, the lieutenant rank is a very real rank. If he's a commander, then she's still a lower officer. But if he is a lieutenant, which he is meant to be, bit of a funny one, Stuart. We're not, this happens in all Treks. Although, to be fair, this doesn't happen in all Treks. So picture this, Stuart. If this exact thing happened in TNG, Mr. Michael Dorn is at the back in Klingon outfit, wearing his Lieutenant Commander pips, and the director says to the second AD, right, can you get one of Dorn's pips off? He's like, oh, okay. And then Michael Dorn's like, but I'm a commander. No, you're a lieutenant in this shot. Okay. Go, Q. Does a close-up. All right, let's do the wide now. Right, keep his pit back on. But why was the lieutenant a minute ago? No, you're a commander in the long shot, but a lieutenant in the wide. Oh. So it'd be very hard to make this mistake in a real live action to remove and add pips. Really hard to do. So, other stuff has happened. Deck 26 and all, but bit of a funny one in this case.
I mean, the closest one for Worf would be Parallels, where he's maybe different ranks in different timelines or different realities. So, but yeah, no, that's amazingly funny, and I think it was done deliberately. I think it's just kind of a, will people notice it? This is going to be an ongoing thing, kind of thing for the character. But I don't know how I feel about that, especially for the chief security officer. Like,
I mean, to be fair, he is 95% lieutenant. But he does also become a commander quite a few times. And that's hey, if that's the biggest continuity gaffe we've seen in Lower Decks, they're doing well.
Absolutely, yeah. We've given them praise for all of the continuity and visual canon that they've been following. So, again, I think this is a little in-joke based on the humor aspect of the show. So,
I can see it. I can see it. I just wish I would, if that was the case, I'd want it to be between different scenes rather than between the same scene, different conversation. Then it'd be like spot the difference, or like if every time he was in extreme wide, it was always a wrong rank. Like the ones that are really hard to see, it's like, oh yeah, he's clearly got, But hey,
yeah. Wow. Anyway, I'm Commodore Foley, and I want you to hit that like button and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell icon to all and share this around where you think people would enjoy it. So, yeah.
And as President Cockings of the entire YouTube Federation, you should obviously subscribe as well. I'm telling you to, and therefore all the more value. You should, and of course, Patreon, and join the channel, and give us any sort of money in any sort of form. As President, I can just say that bluntly, if you can. Thank you.
So until next time, I'm Admiral Foley.
I am President Cockings.
See ya.
Goodbye.